Okay? And there's actually a technical term for this fear of anxiety symptoms, and it's called anxiety sensitivity. Right? And anxiety sensitivity is the technical psychological term for the fear of anxiety. And what's interesting is that long-term prognosis with the anxiety disorders, particularly with things like panic disorder and social anxiety and some of the other anxiety disorders, it depends not on your level so much of anxiety, but rather on your anxiety sensitivity, on your fear of anxiety. As it turns out, that's much, much more important than whether or not you're anxious. All right? And here's where traditional sort of insight-oriented psychotherapy can really miss the boat, because the idea is that I'm gonna get enough insight here so that my anxiety is going to go away. Well, that's not how life works, particularly for those of us that have anxious bodies. That it's really the secondary reaction to the anxiety that is the critical issue. And so how do you interrupt this cycle? Interrupting this cycle is all about changing your fundamental relationship with your anxiety symptoms.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
And so, and now a lot of people think that breaking the anxiety cycle is focusing here and doing relaxation or breathing retraining or muscle relaxation or going to a safe place. And if you've ever asked anybody who's ever had a panic attack, if they tried that, they say that's never been particularly helpful, right? And because in my experience, even if you learn how to breathe diaphragmatically, you're going to really misuse it or undo the benefits of it because you're adding the uh-ohs, because usually the people will use self-regulation or relaxation skills in the context of oh, this better work or else. And of course, with the body here is with the fear center, the brain here is the or else, which is just going to keep the cycle. So this is the critical point. So what we want to do, and what the goal of treatment is to turn the uh-ohs and the what-ifs into so-whats.
So what if I'm having these symptoms?
So, okay, so my heart's beating fast, all right? So I'm feeling like I'm out of my body, things don't feel quite real, all right? Those are all uh-ohs that drive this cycle, and so it's really important that you understand that panic is never either psychologically or physically dangerous. So it's important to get the information
But
so
it
that you can...
feels dangerous.
But feeling dangerous and being dangerous are two completely different things. Pain and danger are very different, right? You can have a paper cut that's painful as hell, right? And yet that's not in any way dangerous. You could have asymptomatic pancreatic cancer and be dead next week.
Right.
So there's often a confusion between discomfort and danger. They are not the same thing. Right? There's also a difference between disliking symptoms, not wanting symptoms, and being afraid of symptoms. Okay? There's a huge difference. Now, so our goal here in treatment is to turn the uh-ohs into the what-ifs. And so basically, what does this suggest? It means that we want to actually seek out discomfort. We actually want to seek out the symptoms of anxiety so that we can desensitize to the anxiety itself, not to the airplane, not to the shopping center, not to the bridge, but to the anxiety symptoms themselves. So the uh-oh, and particularly at the beginning of treatment, is going to be very automatic, right? The uh-oh can come up like this. And some people actually, and this is what's really important, is some people talk about having spontaneous panic attacks. In my experience, if you really deconstruct any panic attack, there is no such thing as an out-of-the-blue panic attack. Right? Because what's actually going on, even though, as Claire Weeks says, this can feel like one event, if you really, really look at what happens is that you may experience an anxiety symptom or some scary sensation out of the clear blue. But that's not the panic. The panic is the symptom shows up out of the blue and you go, uh-oh, and then you start that cycle.
Okay.
Okay? So as Claire Weeks, this is first fear and second fear, and it really is two different processes. Right? So Reed Wilson would now say that we need to take, so Weeks says, face, accept, float, and let time pass.
Right.
That's her way of addressing it. There's been a newer approach to this. Reed Wilson, what Reed Wilson would say is that alongside of the uh-oh, what you bring up is the following. Great. This is exactly what I need to be experiencing in order to recover. Bring it on.
That's really hard to do.
Let me see if I can make my heart pound faster, my palms sweat more, feel more out of my body, feel more derealized. Right? So here we're talking about really going beyond acceptance to what's called a provocative approach.
So, because acceptance is too wishy-washy, you need to go. You need to go to the provocative.
Right, and that a lot of times people think that it sort of pervert acceptance into being sort of putting up with or tolerating, and then that's not at all what it is. Actually, acceptance means to contact the experience without defending yourself needlessly while you behave effectively.
Great.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Some more on this later.